Hey, Andy Brocklehurst here, and this is my little video presentation on the digital product pivot. We're talking about why big PDFs and monster video courses are dying, and how the smartest creators are building what I call zero tax action huddles. And that is exactly what we are going to be looking at today. Whether we like it or not, the way that content is going and digital content for sale is going is changing. I've been doing this stuff for over 25 years now, and in that time, I've seen all the changes and trends, and these things tend to run in a cycle. So don't worry, long form and deep content, it's not dead forever. But at the moment, we're going through a phase where educational PDFs I've only got like a 4% completion rate by buyers in 2026. Most people have a ton of PDFs and videos downloaded and things like that they've never even fully looked at. Then we have the problem that generative AI has really reduced the value that people place on plain text information. If a chatbot can summarize it, buyers don't want to pay for it. You've got to give something unique. And then we've got 82% of consumers feel completely isolated from the creators they buy from. And this is why we've been seeing an upsurge in community building, something I've been doing with a business partner for some time now with some things like Society 11, building communities of people. And we did that before community builders existed, and we've done it on Facebook, we've done it on various things. We eventually moved that over to school. Nothing wrong with school as a platform, if you've already got paying customers, because school, we to get the features we needed for Society 11, we had to buy into $100 a month plan. Now that's fine for an existing business, but I had loads of ideas and I was like, wow, I'd love to try that on school and that on school. And I know they have a $9 hobby level that you can get started on. But realistically, if you want API, if you want any of the decent features, you've got to be on the $99 level. And that's crippling for most people starting out, especially people trying to build small niche things and building their audience for the first time. So this is the old way of looking at products. Most people would do a sort of a brief what we would call a lead magnet, might be a short report, 5 to 10 pages, and then that would lead to an upsell offering them a 100-page report. And these days, those products don't really get read properly. They tend to be a bit of a one-way broadcast as well. So the new way of doing things is to build what I'm calling action huddles. It's a fancy word for a group, right? And one way that you can do this, and this is one way, there are multiple ways. What you do, you start off by building something simple, like a 2-page action map. I mean, something really simple and short. And then you offer that, and I'll talk about how we can offer that in a minute. And then you invite people who download it to join your little group, your huddle, which now gives them a way of communicating with others trying this thing out and who are interested in this. And that community will grow by itself. The beautiful thing about that is it means that also when you bring out new products and services, you have another active bubble that they're in. You're not limited to just your email list or just your social following. So let's just do the maths and talk about what typically people are using at the moment in order to build communities. And I am aware, didn't have room on the chart to fit it on. I am aware school have got a $99 a month level, which reduces your transaction fee to 2.9% and gives you access to that API. And that's fine for people with established things, like I've said, but for most people starting out, they feel that's too much of a jump. So most of them end up signing up for what I think is a bit of a velvet trap, $9 a month. The hidden tax there is you pay a 10% transaction fee if you have paid levels. So you sell $1,500 worth of access and you're giving away 150 to school. Now, okay, there's always a cost of doing business. But until you upgrade to that higher level, and then you get your transaction rate down and start getting access to APIs and other useful things. Most people want access to those other things well before they're ready to spring the 99 a month. We have Circle. Circle's really the big corporate one, it's the one that have really successfully marketed themselves, and they got integrated with a lot of existing platforms. Like there's direct integration in Gumroad with Circle. You can simply tick a box that says "Join this person to my Circle group," and that's fine. But you've got to start on at least $89 a month, and then if you have paid tiers inside Circle, you charge for they have a 2% transaction fee, which is actually very reasonable, to be fair. I I think it depends on the payment method they use. That it's 2% plus, PayPal, whatever. Uh, but again, the real useful tools are behind $199 a month tier. And when we looked for using Circle for Society 11, we were prepared to pay 90 a month. That seemed very reasonable. And then we realized we couldn't do what we wanted. And at the time, the only other alternatives were school. And so we went with that because it was half the cost. Mighty Networks, bit cheaper, 41 a month and a 3% base fee. But you're going to lose, but on top of that, you lose extra when combined with Stripe fees and other things they introduce. So, bit of a chunk. And then I've got what I'm introducing as a new baseline, and that's Huddable. The base cost for Huddable is nothing. Now, that doesn't take payments or anything like that. But when you do and you upgrade to the pro level, which might happen later on, I'll talk about where and when you might want to do that, there's still no transaction fees. You can handle payments however you want. Now, obviously, you will incur transaction fees with your chosen payment gateway, but you can use anything you choose. So let's talk a little bit about what Huddable is and what it isn't. Huddable has been built for the groups, for the huddling, for the feed and the people in the groups, keeping a tight connection. It does not have courses. It does not have events. If you want to run a webinar, it doesn't have a built-in webinar platform, but you can use any. In fact, you could just embed a YouTube live video. And if you wanted to, you could embed that behind a paid tier in your huddle so that only premium members could get access to it. So there's dozens of ways of doing all this stuff. And these other tools, they go, oh, but we've got all of this. And I'm like, quite honestly, the only reason I use the webinar feature inside of school is because I don't have any other choice. It makes you use that one. I With Huddable, you're not going to be tied to that. You can integrate and use it with whatever you like. So here's how you start for absolutely nothing. So you can have a huddle for free with up to 1,000 active members in it. And you get all the full content features. You can enrich embed video from YouTube Video Loom. It will also auto embed MP4 links and other video format links that are all detailed inside the manual. It will also do auto embedding of PNG, JPEG, GIF files, that sort of thing. You have complete control. You can be a visible group. You can be a private hidden group. You can make it so people have to be approved for access or that anyone with the link can join. It has the basic important gamification built in without it getting silly and gimmicky. Gamification works, but when you start piling it on, it cheapens things. So we keep it simple. We've engineered it for engagement. It's simple, no gimmicks. 3 points for creating a post, 1 point for writing a comment, 1 point for receiving a like. Simple. The result is that quiet members are given a mathematical reason to participate, and top contributors receive some form of recognition on your leaderboards. We also run 7 day, 30-day leaderboards so that newcomers to your group can still rank up and still be seen on the leaderboard if that's important to them. Something I think is a nice feature. Okay, let's talk about the content gating architecture, how you can tease, gate, and deliver premium content inside one unified huddle. Now, we are talking here about the pro version of Huddle. On the free version of Huddle, you can have categories, but you can't have multiple tiers. You can't have paid tiers. So basically, what you do is you can create tiers and we gate it based on category. And the nice thing is that a category can be full access. So a member of that, of whatever tiers you assign it, which may include a free tier, may not, get full access. Or you can make it read only. So only someone on the tier can actually take part in the conversation, but everyone else gets to see it going on. Or you can have it locked. And our locked one is lovely because the member will see a teaser, first few lines of the post, then they can't read it anymore, with a prominent upgrade button, which will link to your checkout page for your upgrade to your paid tier. And you can take that payment however you like. We've got built-in Stripe, Gumroad, and Thrivecart at this stage. Why did I pick those? Because I had experience with them, and that is why we built it based on those. We are open to offering direct integrations with other things, although you can integrate with anything you like, thanks to the fact we have an API in the Pro version, and the API is two-way. We'll get into that as well a little bit, and you can use things like Zapier or Pabbly or Make to automate workflows. The nice thing about Huddle is that we have given some scheduling of posts. Now, this is one thing that school owners have been asking for some time, and I know school have got no intention of putting in because they feel it will become spammy. And there is a danger of that if you misuse it. But look, how you use the feature is up to you. You're an adult, right? We let you use this how you want to use it. So I'm going to let you know what we do have. We have scheduled posts. You can just go in and write a post that will post on a certain date at a certain time, one time, job done. This means that you can queue up content in advance. I know as a creator, quite often I've got several ideas. Well, I can sit and write them up in one session now, but I schedule each post to go out on a different day or a week apart. So each one's a new topic, so boom, up it comes. And that way I've got regular stuff scheduled so that even when I get busy and forget to go and check my own huddle, I've got some content going in there and it's keeping it fresh. You can also schedule weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly posts for check-ins and goal setting. And we've got Spintax built into that. So you can use, if you're familiar with Spintax, there's an example on screen right there. It will that shows you what happens and what the possible outputs would be if you were to use that Spintax example. Now, I am not a huge fan of doing a regular post every week or anything like that. But we've let you go weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. Anything more than that was going to be too much. So use it sparingly, though. It's ideally there for like just a monthly thing. Hey, a quick reminder, everyone. Have you checked this? Have you remembered to check in on this? and so on. So you can automate that side of it, something that you can't do with other platforms. So let's talk about what the triggers are, the trigger points for where you would have to upgrade to $29 a month. And here's the key point here. You only start doing this once you're building profit. See, if you're building a community and then you're selling them other products, which you can do, and then when you are in profit from that audience you've been building up, now you can upgrade and it will be worth upgrading. So obviously if you break the 1,000 barrier, then you've maxed out the free tier capacity and you need to upgrade to the $29 a month account, which gives you an unlimited member capacity within your huddle. Now, for most people, it's going to take a while before they reach the 1,000, unless they've got an existing audience they're bringing across. But most people, if you were to mail like all your buyers, if you had a few thousand buyers, 10-20% of them probably are going to join your free hub. So yeah, it's going to take you a little while to break the 1,000 anyway. Now, it might be that you want to get straight into this and start adding in sort of premium content level, a paid tier. If you want to do anything to do with monetization or adding tiers, that is your second trigger. That's the point. That's the another point at which you would want to upgrade. The other one is if you need API and webhook integrations to automate member onboarding from external sales, you would need to go to the pro level. But there's an awful lot you can do with the free level right from the get-go, because you can start building that community around some products, offer them other products, and so on and so on and so on. And you can really build this up into something before you have to pay Huddable anything at all. Let's look at how the revenue engine works. Huddable has three direct integrations. We directly integrate with Thrivecart, we directly integrate with Gumroad, and we directly integrate with Stripe. And there is a video inside the Huddable support group showing exactly how you set those up. And it is honestly the easiest integration you have ever seen. We have kept it so simple that anyone could do it. Now, if you want to use another payment gateway, something different, then you'd have to do that with the API, and you can. We have an API, and you can use that with Zapier and Pabbly and Make or any of those tools and have them do things. But for those of you that want to keep it simple and you go, I just want to plug in something I already have. Now, obviously, Thrivecart isn't a free thing, but it is something with a large user base and something that I've used myself for many years. So I already knew how the integration worked. Gumroad, same. I have released loads of products on Gumroad and I have done lots with Stripe. We may consider building in other things. Did a quick poll. There wasn't actually a lot of demand for PayPal. And quite frankly, I suppose if you wanted to do that, you can do it via another system. Anyway, direct payment, very easy. We also have a full API that works both ways on the pro level. So you've got both inbound and outbound. So in other words, when somebody joins your thing, you can trigger something to happen. So if you need to move them from one mailing list to another, for example, you could do that. And then if you needed to trigger something when somebody buys a certain product, they get access to a paid tier. You can fully control this. Uh, you know, Only let them join this tier if they've attended this webinar. You could do all sorts of things because there is a completely open API. I say completely open, it's not, it's obviously protected, but it's very open in what it can do. So here's the 2026 game plan that I call the Huddle Stack. Here's how you can launch your new business model for nothing today. Complexity kept at nothing. Instead of trying to write an 80-page book, just come up with a short form, 5-page thing. I'll give you a tip here. Gamma AI, free level of that. Use it to make something good. Spend a bit of time with it. You'll see what I mean. Then put that on Gumroad. List your little sprint product. Price it as an impulsing. Maybe make it free. Pay what you want, even nothing, or something like that. And what you do on the download page that Gumroad hosts, you give them the PDF, and you give them the join link to join your tribe, your community. And your community link is your Huddable community link. And you can keep your Huddable private if you want to, so only your actual people can join. And then later on, as that starts to grow, you might want to make it public and let everyone join. But now you bring in a paid tier and you offer people the chance to upgrade or whatever, or maybe you grandfather in your existing members, and because you could just go in and upgrade them manually. That's all possible within the Huddable system. So lots of different ways it can grow and lots of different directions you can take it. The key thing here is to realize, big courses and big learning will always exist, but they are getting less popular. What people are paying for today is this community access. It's like, let's take a smart idea, break it down simply, and then get together where we can discuss it and bounce it around some more and expand on it. People love that. Now, if you make your Huddable public, it does appear in the directory. Our directory sorts based on activity. So if you have an active huddle, it will appear nearer the top of the list. There is some randomization in there, but basically huddles that are getting no activity won't appear in that directory. So there may be a little bit of organic traffic as this thing grows, but let's be realistic here. You might think, well, surely for that I'm better off going with another platform that's got loads of users on it because of the organic traffic. I'll tell you now, the only people you get are going to be complete freebie arseholes that never buy anything. That's what happens. I know we've done some experiments running free groups on other platforms. Really, really doesn't pay off or work out. You've got to introduce a paid tier and hardly anyone upgrades, and it's an uphill battle. This way, start without any cost. Start giving value and then introduce your paid content later on. And if you're stuck for content ideas and things that you can use in your Huddable, then you might want to check out one of my other groups where I am sharing ideas on rapid product creation. That's in Huddable and will be able to be publicly found. Enjoy.